So, what we're going to walk through today is 11 goal refining steps. I had posted on the Facebook group and in some of the promo. If you've got your goals from 2020 that you wrote down, go ahead and grab those. If you've already started to plan your 2021 and you have those goals written down, feel free. But here's the thing is when people start talking about goals, it kind of creates a bit of nervousness, maybe a little anxiety in you. Uh, Also, writing them down kind of takes that to the next level. It makes them a little bit more real. And so, for so many of us, writing down our goals is something that many have never done. We've always thought, well, I've got them in my head. I put them, I maybe put them on a sticky note along the way, but I've never really taken the time to write them down. So during our time today, what we're going to do is we're going to get fresh perspectives on goal setting. I'm going to share specific tips, tools, truths to help you through this process. So, whatever you've called them in the past, in January, some people call them intentions. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you call them, your visions, your goals. We're going to rock through this process. Now, I have acronym. Those of you who know me know that I love creating acronyms. And one of the words that's associated with my brand and my consulting is the word fire. And so these are the four buckets that we are going to touch on today. We're going to talk about how to formulate your goals, really choosing them, reviewing them, and of course, making sure that they're aligned to some of your core values. And then we're going to talk about really improving them, how to frame them, how to create checklists with them and check in dates with them, and then designing ways that we bring them to life. And then how to reinforce them, how to focus on them, tips to help you with that, how to celebrate when you've succeeded in them. And then ultimately, how to elevate not only who you are in those goals, but how you help others choose to be unstoppable with their goals. So, are you ready? I am too. So, before defining your goals, there are some things that I want us to look at that show you where you were. So, kind of taking a peek at where you've been. This is a really important step for so many of us. The first is, did you achieve everything you set out to do this year? Now, this question can, again, cause anxiety for us because in a year like 2020, when we started out, what we thought we were going to see, what we thought we were going to experience was very, very different than we did. So, were you able to achieve everything you set out to do this year? It's okay if it was yes, it's okay if it was no, because we're going to talk through that. Second, were the folks that you served, was your clientele exactly who you wanted them to be? Are the people that you did end up doing business with people who made you jump for joy, people who you loved talking to through the process, people when they called your phone or sent you a text, you smiled and did a little happy dance because you were excited to have a conversation with them, regardless if it was a positive about the house they put it on the market or that they put a deal in for, whether it was an agent you were looking to really help take to the next level. Regardless of that, were those people, the people that you served, who you truly wanted them to be at the beginning of the year? Is that who you ended up serving? And then was your revenue strong? Was it growing on an exponential rate? Real estate, we were really truly blessed in this industry this year. The last few downturns have really truly affected our bottom lines. But this pandemic, the experience that we went through this year with the economy, did not impact the real estate space as it has so many other times before. And so we have seen and heard and celebrated with so many of you inside the Woman Up community about your strong revenue, about that exponential growth. So if yours wasn't, it's okay. If yours was, we're going to discover and we're going to dig into why. Why are we going to dig into that? Because we truly believe that the right goals provide you some clarity and some focus around what it is that you really want to accomplish. They also, the way we word them, the way that we go after them creates a motivation inside us to want to achieve those goals. I often ask this time of year, like, what's your favorite goal? I actually asked it on the Facebook group today. So it'll be fun for us to all be able to go over there and see what everyone else's favorite goal is. So right now, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop in the chat. I'll be able to see it later, and you'll be able to see them as you are inside the chat together. What kind of goals did you set this year that you really loved, that you truly felt motivated to achieve? And then last but not least is the right goals actually truly help us improve our self-confidence. And I'll tell you, in the last 4 years of serving and empowering this community, confidence is always in the top 5 areas that all of you are always seeking to refine. You want more confidence, you want bolder confidence. For some of you, you might not even feel confident right now because of whatever is going on in your life. And so you come into the group to seek confidence. So if you can correlate the difference between the right goals and building your confidence, that takes it to the next level. Okay, so this is the sheet that I mentioned at the beginning. This layers review, whether it's the Luscious Life layers that you are going to rate yourself or inside your bold businesses. I dropped a link before I came over into the slides here, that allows you to download these 2 sheets quickly and easily. So if you go over to just scroll in the comments or in the chat, you'll see deborahtrapin.com/luscious-life-layers. Go to that landing page and download these documents, because here's the reality. When you walk through these, or you can take a quick snapshot and go through this process at home with your journal. I want you to go through each of these layers in your life. I want you to go through your personal growth. I want you to look at your marriage and relationship. I want you to look at where you stand with your family, your wealth, your friends, the environment where you are, self-care. Now that's body, mind, and soul care, not simply just how many massages were you able to get in 2020, but really, how have you been able to care for your mindset, your physical body, the learning side of who you are, filling that soul tank that is what keeps you roaring through your every day. Then I want you to look at, how is your career doing? How's your business doing on a scale of 1 to 11? And the passions, the soul tank passions. Are you working on hobbies? Are you working all day, or are you taking time to do things that make you smile? How about contribution? This one's been a little odd for us this year because we haven't been able to come together at all of the fundraisers, the big dinners, and the social events, the auctions. So how are you feeling about your contribution to your community this year? And then ultimately, how would you rate your spirituality? How have you been able to really stay connected and grounded in whatever your faith language is this year without being able to gather with others? Have you found other ways to fill that? So I want you to go through the life layers. And then I also want you to go through the bold business layers, right? Look at your corporate values. How are you sitting there? Have you expanded or retracted any of your business models this year? Are you liking that? Did you add new products? What did that look like for you? Client acquisition and client retention. Did you do well on that? If you're a broker, you can also look at client and acquisition and retention from the agent perspective. Were you able to recruit agents in this year? Were you able to retain agents this year? And what did your expansion program look like in general? How about your community contribution at your business? The career planning and growth for yourself and others, budgeting and finance goals. Go through each one of these layers and rate yourself. The reason we do this is because at the end, you're going to see each one of those lines, you see that ideal number, what you want your ideal number to be. And part of formulating ideal goals, ladies and gentlemen, is understanding the areas where you truly see you need growth, where you need improvement. Because far too many times we do we set our goals based on what we did last year. We kind of look at last year's goals and kind of improve on them, or just keep those same goals going over and over again. So once you once you walk through those luscious life layers, the next step is to actually write out goals for each of those documents. So when you look at the top 3 life goals that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months, if you look at the ideal numbers and you say, I really want to take that 5 in my relationships or my friendships, I really want to improve that number. Or if you looked at your environment and said, my environment has been chaotic this year, so many different spaces I had to create in my home or my office, I really want to improve on my environment so that it is more calm and less chaotic. It could be the contribution aspect, because you haven't had all the invitations to all of the events. You haven't actually written those checks. You haven't donated those dollars that are normally incredibly important to you. So that might be a goal that you have for yourself in the next 12 months, is to make sure that you are doing that, whether it's virtual or in person, that is something that you want to take care of. Same with the business goals, is walk through those areas, walk through those layers, look at how you rated yourself and what your ideal is, and choose those ones that have the biggest gap and use those as the place where you're going to start writing out those goals. What I want to walk you through next is the top 3 goals that I have seen over and over again inside my practice as a consultant, but also the goals that I have had conversations with as a mentor in the Woman Up program. So I tend to gather from others their goals and then their BHAG. And what a BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal. So let's look at some of the ones that we've seen consistently inside the community. One is to increase our sales. If that number might be 50% for you, it might be 25% for you, but they're usually something around increasing sales. The next is, so many of the amazing women and men in the community have really started to find their voice over these last few years. And so we're getting requests and questions around, how do I secure speaking opportunities? How do I get on more stages? How do I share my voice more? How do I plug into becoming part of the Woman Up Academy? How do I plug into my local association and write courses? So that might be something that's on your list as well. And then launching products. Right. So we, as real estate professionals, we offer services, but there are so many products that we found that real estate professionals are starting to launch, including things like they're writing books, they're writing e-courses. And so if any of these are on your list, we're going to walk through how to dig even deeper. And then my favorite BHAG, my favorite big, hairy, audacious goal that we are seeing over and over again is looking at expanding your real estate portfolio to include vacation property. So many people in 2020 actually shifted from their main residence to a cabin in the mountains or a condo by the water because they could work remotely. So many people have found that they could work and do their business remotely in so many ways this year, and not maybe for the entire year, but for the weekends or for a chunk of each week or for a part of the month. And so that might be on your list as well. And so how do we actually make these things happen? Well, let's look at the first goal, and we look at increasing our sales. So we're going to use that 50% number. So what I want each one of you to do when you're looking at your increase sales goal is to say, what and how did I do last year? How did I do it? Did I call 10 people a day? Did I message 10 people a day? Did I text them or Facebook message them or shoot them a note on? Did I connect with 10 people a day? And if that's how I did it, I know that next year, if I want to increase my business, if I want to get more, I'm going to have to look at that number and bring it up to 20 a day. So you can start to look at what you did last year and increase it to absolutely achieve that goal. Maybe last year you sold 25 bits of property. Maybe you sold an average sale price at 350. So look at those numbers and then say, if I want to increase my sales, do I really want to increase the number of homes I sell, or do I actually want to look at my average sale price? How can I switch my niche to embrace a higher price point, or to go towards a consumer that is seeking a luxury property or an investment property that has a higher price tag? So you can actually look at the number of homes and the time it took you and the average sale price and start shifting around where you want to spend that time there as well. The second goal that I talked about was that more opportunities to get in front of others, to share your story, to share your voice. And, we are so supportive of that around the Woman Up community that we want to help all of you find those opportunities. So the first tip in securing this goal and really nailing it is to start creating Google alerts, right? Start creating Google alerts for your area, for the types of events that you want to speak at. If you want to focus in on a specific group, if you want to speak at women's conferences, if you want to speak into the Latin community or the LGBTQ community, is there a specific group of people that you want to surround yourself with and speak into? Start creating Google alerts for those, and submitting a couple applications a month, right? You have to plant the seeds in order to be chosen. And then ultimately starting an outreach program, right? So as I mentioned, we have people who message us here at Woman Up asking how we can help find those opportunities. But there's so many other people in your world, I know, who host events, who put on virtual conferences, and who are looking for speakers. And if your name isn't in front of them, they can't choose you. So start an outreach program, start asking others, and start researching virtual events. So many organizations, including us here at Women Up, have created virtual opportunities for people to share their expertise. So start researching those inside your communities, the communities that you are serving. You may also have a Facebook group. You might have a community that you serve that is agents or clients, consumers in your community that you serve, that you can also host virtual events for. So you don't always have to wait for the event to be created. You can actually create the event. Doesn't that sound exciting? And the virtual events, the beauty of that is you don't have to travel, and the expanded reach of your message is exponential. All right, let's talk about that third consistent goal that we see around here in the community, and that's to launch something. You want to write a book, you want to write an e-course, you want to participate in the world with some sort of product. So the first stage in slaying a goal like that would be to survey the people that you serve. Who are your clients? Who's the ultimate audience for that? And find out, is there interest in that product? Right? You don't want to create something. You don't want to write a book that nobody wants to read. You don't want to create a course that nobody wants to take. So make sure that you are surveying that audience that you want to serve, and then start bringing together the influencers in that space. Around the Woman Up community, we love to call those influencers our wave makers, those women who are living the life. They are living their best life. They are out there serving their communities. They are running brokerages. They are executive leaders in brokerages. They are agents who see themselves as future brokers. So they are our ideal audience. They are the women, they are the avatar, if you will, who we build our products and services for. So they come together with us at the table and help us create better opportunities to bring everyone together. They help us with making decisions around the wisdom series, etc. So who are those people in your world? Who are those influencers? And then, how do you start to put that plan together to market it? So each one of these goals has these different layers. And so when you're walking through these different layers, I want you to do the same thing at home. I want you to go through your life goals, and I want you to write out 3 little bullets under each. I want you to write out your business goals and write those bullets underneath. When you start doing that, you're going to start to see a couple of things that are going to help you with this next phase, which is challenging your goals. There's some key elements under challenging your goals, and this is truly where I believe the difference is in what we're going to talk about today and what you normally hear in goal setting or goal getting events. The first one is being honest. So when you look at your list of goals from say 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and what's happening for 2021, what do you see? What do you see? And I really want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to ask yourself some questions, okay? I want the first question you ask yourself with each one of the goals is, how long has this goal been on my commitment list? Now, the third goal, that product goal that we talked about earlier, is the one that usually gets a hit at this question. And it's around writing a book or writing a course, because people are so attracted to your content or your voice or your story that they're saying, gosh, you should really write a book, or you should really teach more. You should really speak more. And so if that goal of writing a book or speaking on a stage has been on your list over and over and over again, I want you to be honest with yourself and tell yourself, yep, that's been on my list for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Because the second question that follows up that question is it inspired by what other people are doing? Is that writing a book? Is that I want to make more money? Is that I want to purchase a vacation property? Is that I want to speak, or whatever it might be? Is it inspired by what other people are doing? And social media has helped and hindered us with this one. So there's a way you can be inspired and celebrate other people's success by the events and the goals that they're hitting. And there's also a way to clog your goals list up with what other people are doing. So making sure that if it's inspired by what other people are doing, it's actually something you want to do is important. So is that goal that has been on your list for years, is it yours, or is it something someone spoke into or over you? Right? So how long has it been on your list? Is it inspired what other people are doing, or something you really want to do? Is it yours? So when you go through each one of those, if you walk through and you see, yeah, it's been on my list for 5 years and it was inspired by my friend who wrote a book, but it's really not my goal, then delete it from the list. Delete it from the list. That's why I only want you to do a couple of things under each one of those goals, because I want you to start to see in this process that there are some of these goals that you've been building out for years that are not really yours. Then I want you to go through it and, of course, look at each one of the goals that survived, each one of the goals that survived. And I want you to assign it a value. Now, if you've taken any of my classes before, or you've seen me talk at Woman Up, you know that my desire for all of you to do a core values exercise is huge. I want every single person on this planet to know what their core values are. And so, of course, core values come into play when we are talking about goals, because when your goals are aligned to your values, you start getting clear about really what's important to you. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning when we looked at those luscious life layers, those bold business layers that you are going to go through and you're going to rate and say, this is where I am and this is where I want to be. A lot of those can be red thread connected to your values. So if you don't have the core values exercise done yet, go ahead and write down in the chat that you want the core values exercise. I will get that for you. Absolutely. I will send it to you. I will email you. If you want to email us at womanup@car.org, we will get you a copy of that core values exercise, because this is such an important exercise. So when you define your core values and you've got those 11 words that are in priority, really the top 5 values you start to see in a lot of the goals you've actually completed, and a lot of the goals you haven't actually don't align. So the next phase, the next step in really ultimately defining and refining your goals is to say, choose your first life goal and write it next to it what values are honored by that goal. I want you to do the same thing with all of your business goals. I want you to write out each goal. I want you to write out which values are honored. This is such a beautiful way to show yourself where you have chosen goals that don't actually fit who you are at the core of yourself. Now, the beautiful part about this process is you can start to see how you can create ways to honor both life goals and business goals. And I'm going to give you an example. So you might have things like growing your network, building deeper relationships with others in your like on your vision board and on your goals list. But there might be some friction, like how am I going to do that and where am I going to create those relationships? And you also might have on your personal goal list to become healthier, right? I know that there's many of us in this time who have kind of lost our self-care as far as exercise and taking care of ourselves. So how can you start to create more walk and talk conversations instead of sitting in front of Zoom for a conversation? Do you really need to see that person's face every single time? Or can you say, let's schedule a walk and talk? Now, when we're together in person, you can even take it to the next level and you can meet at the local coffee shop, grab a coffee and take a walk and do your meetings while you're walking and talking. So you can honor your values of building deeper relationships with your business partners and your clients and creating better well-being, a healthier lifestyle. You can start to put those red threads connect together when you start writing it out. So I'm really excited for you to go through this process because this is where a lot of aha moments come inside this whole process of really refining your goals. Now, please be patient with yourself as you go through this because it isn't always easy to see the value that you're going to honor. But ultimately, when you start writing out each one of your goals, it'll start to hit you. Okay. So just please be patient with yourself. The next part is to truly positively frame your goals. This element is a really fun way to see your goals in a fresh light, right? And I actually, of course, have more questions to ask yourself. I know, shocking. The first is if I achieve this goal, what positive emotion or outcome will I experience? So, really truly ask yourself, what positive emotion or outcome will I experience when I achieve my goal? What is it? What will you have? What will you experience when you achieve it? And how will it make you feel? Now, the feeling you'll feel when you achieve a goal is something that is very important for you to define because we have learned over the years between the conversations around manifesting and neuroscience that if you can, while you are looking at your goals, while you are building, defining, and refining your goals, if you can put an emotion and a feeling to each one of those goals, after you've achieved it, how you will feel, you have such a higher percentage chance of achieving that goal because you've actually activated those feelings inside you. So ask yourself those questions. And then I want you to actually write out a positive statement that encompasses that positive emotion and that feeling. I want you to go through each of your goals and I want you to say, this is the positive emotion I will experience. This is the outcome I will experience. And this is how it will make me feel. It's going to feel a little awkward going through each one of your goals and doing this, but trust me when I say this, it is going to help you see your goals in an entirely different way. So let me walk through the process of what it's going to look like as you're doing this. So this first bucket, this first line inside that sentence is going to focus on the life layer, that core focus. It could in your life layers that we talked about before, this could also be your business layer, right? This could be around your agent or client acquisition or retention. But what is that core focus? That's the first line in your sentence. The second line is what actions are required of me, right? What are those bullet points that I want to actually participate and infuse in my day to day in the next 12 months to help me achieve that? This third one is so incredibly important. And we have seen it real life experiences that we have seen and celebrated inside this community around the ideal connections bubble here. Who are the people? Who are the friends, the family, the colleagues, the mentors, the trainers, the teachers? Who are the people in your life who can help you with that core focus? So, who are the people who have already slayed this goal? Who are the people who you have listened to podcasts with, that you have done the work with, that you have seen them do the work on that particular goal? Write down those people's names. So, again, what is it that you want to focus on? What are the activities you know in those bullet points that you need to get done in order to do that? Who are the ideal connections, those people who can walk alongside you? Who do you want to surround yourself with? And then ultimately that feeling, remember that. How will you feel when you accomplish it? So if we put those all together, that might look like something like this. I'm excited to focus on volunteering. So if your life layer of volunteering and being part of your community was pretty low and you want it to be higher, that is a layer. And maybe even a soul tank activity, something that you love to do, is volunteering at your local library or school. Now, regardless of if you can be in person or not, libraries and schools are still hosting virtual opportunities. These are things that we've forgotten in this season because we've all been trying to figure out our own lanes. But a lot of these organizations, a lot of the places in our lives where we only used to go to an actual building, they've now figured it out as well. So your sentence might start out, I'm excited to focus on volunteering at my local library or school with, that's the person, my best friend. Now that's the ideal connection. This could be this could be your best friend. This could be your partner. This could be your child. Who is that ideal person, that ideal connection in that third bubble that you can add into this sentence? And then I will look for programs that need teachers, which is your purpose because you want to focus on volunteering and helping others to help children learn to read. So you might have a value that you want to honor of paying it forward to future generations, in all woven in here. And that ultimately I will feel joy when they feel empowered to step up, speak out, and live out loud. So I am excited to focus on volunteering at my local library and school with my best friend. I will look forward and find programs that need teachers to help children learn to read. I will feel joy when they feel empowered to step up, speak out, and live out loud. That is, instead of writing volunteer more on my goals list, this is the sentence that is on my goals list now. You see how it really brings it to life? You change it from, I want to volunteer more, to something more meaningful, a statement that has an impact not only on you, but shares and reminds you of what it will do for you. So once you've gone through these first few steps and you've really made sure this is what you want to do, and you've created these sentences, then I want you to make it visual. I want you to go to your local store and I want you to get a big piece of poster board. And I want you to start printing out photos from the internet and finding those magazines that you've been piled up in your home. And I want you to start creating a vision board that represents your goals. Now, if you don't want to do the poster board and the cutting and the pasting, if that's not your craft lane, you can also do it on Pinterest. There are so many images out there that will help you bring your goal to life. And when I talked through the formula to create those statements, right? The choosing what that core focus is going to be, the what are the activities, the who are the people, and how will it make me ultimately feel? All four of those steps in that process can be made visual. So take some time and make it visual. Again, if you don't want to do it on an actual poster board, you can create a pin board. If you are a Pinterest person, this is a great opportunity to start going to all of the podcasts that you love, pinning all of those memes that bring you joy, adding in the visuals of each one of those goals. However, the one thing with Pinterest that I want you to take to the next level is I also want you to print out those pin boards. I want you to have a physical representation on your wall, on your cork board, on your desk, on your phone, somewhere where you can see it every single day, because that's such an important part of seeing those goals. The next step is checking yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself is real, right? So the challenge of checking in with yourself is so incredibly important. I want you to actually pull out your calendar for the next 12 months. I want you to look at 2021, which is what we're talking about now, but whatever time of year you are refining your goals, I want you to put a date, a check-in date every single week with your goals in it. That's the beauty of our online connected calendars. So if Mondays is your day, if Tuesdays is your day, if Sundays are your day to check in, create that calendar reminder and actually inside the notes, put your goals. Type out your goals so that every week you're seeing those goals. You're checking in with yourself. You're saying, what tasks do I need to do this week that are going to help me fill that in? Remind yourself to check your vision board. Remind yourself to stand in front of it with a cup of coffee every week and look at that vision board so that you are feeling those feelings. Remind yourself also that simply because you may have skipped last week, you might have missed the goals, you might have failed to do something that you said you were going to do. It's okay. Shake off that shame. Give yourself grace. Two of my favorite sayings: shake off that shame, give yourself grace. And then, of course, I want you to be honest with yourself in a different way. I want you to tell yourself truthfully, is the fact that I'm not getting through these goals because I don't have the skills that I need to actually accomplish them? And then I want you to start by writing down a list of the people who can help you, not simply the people who will cheer you on, but actual mentors who can help you. And then make it easy to be helped. I want you to prepare. And if you were at the 2017 Woman Up event, we talked a lot about how to work really well with mentors, about how to set ourselves up. And so these are some of the highlights from that. So prepare and send the people who are serving you with their knowledge. Prepare them and send them what commitment you're working on and right now. So if you ask me to meet with you next week because you want to really fire up your goals, I want you to send me what goals it is that you're working on. I want to know what you're working on so that I can come better prepared as your mentor. So prepare that person, prepare your mentor or your coach with what you want them to share with, what you want to share them with them. Then send a meeting request. You be in charge of sending them a meeting request on that topic with what you want to talk about, ideas you've got, fill in, use those notes. I know it's the second time I've said this, but so often I get meeting requests from people who want to have a discussion with me and they don't use the notes section. Using the notes section helps everyone stay on task and on conversation. And it really helps you get to the heart of what you want to talk about. And then, of course, something as simple as honoring their time is incredibly important. When you want to talk to somebody for 30 minutes and you go over and you're in 45 minutes or an hour, it's an uncomfortable thing to be the person to say, we've gone over. That's, again, your job as the person who's asking for their time. So honor their time and then follow up as promised. So if you tell them the topics that you want to talk about, if you're reviewing with them what you want to share and what you want to accomplish, and they've given you insights, they've helped you with their information, make sure that you follow up and let them know this worked, that worked, this didn't work, I tried it this way. But make sure you keep them in the loop, because of course, keeping yourself accountable by bringing in other people into the process helps you stay even more accountable when you're following up with them. So all the way through, make sure that you are keeping connected. And ultimately, throughout all of this, embracing the out of focus. We've all heard it, right? We've all heard that we have the attention span that is less than that of a goldfish these days with everything happening. virtually and electronically. So, and understanding how to truly stay focused these days is really important. So, here are my top 5 on staying focused. Staying focused. One is turn off your distractions, right? So if you might actually be here today, but you might have a laptop open to the side, Facebook open on your phone, and you might not be fully invested in what we're doing here today. So if that's you, shake off the shame. Again, give yourself some grace, but turn off the other technology. Keep yourself focused, because if you can listen in on this one thing, you're going to take more from it. You're going to learn more. You're going to implement more because you were here in the moment. The second is saying no more often, right? No is a complete sentence. We've heard that so many times over the years, not only in the Woman Up community, but on multiple stages. Saying no more often is so incredibly important. And now that you have your goals written out, you know what values honor those goals, you can actually use that as a filter for your yes and no's. So if you get invited to something, you can look and say, will it help me accomplish my goals? Will it help me honor a value? If it doesn't do either one of those, then the answer is no. Leave it off of your calendar. Say no more often. 3 is focus on those feelings, right? Focus on the feelings, envisioning if you start to feel a little frazzled and a little cloudy, refocus yourself on the why you're doing it, those feelings that you're looking to accomplish, that experience that you're seeking. Defining how these accomplishments will make you feel today will help you refocus on why it's so important to you. Again, I'm going to say it, stop multitasking, not simply right here, but in general. The science is real that we really are not able to multitask complex issues. We can go to the grocery store and chew gum. We know we can do those two things, but going to the grocery store while giving a listing presentation and working with an agent to retain them, those 3 things all deserve their own focus. And then ultimately paying attention to the results when you do focus. You'll start to see the when you get those little check marks next to the goals, for even for the daily goals, and you actually rate yourself on, if did I focus there or did I not? Most of the time, in fact, almost all of the time, you've actually accomplished something in that day is because of the focus you've had. So I want to introduce you to a process that I use. It's been called many things, but the Pomodoro technique is one of the top names that it's given. But this is a process where you choose a task. So that task might be to finish a listing presentation. That task might be to complete my agent recruiting program list. That it might be, I need to write some thank you notes today. Choose a task. And then I want you to grab either your phone or a kitchen timer or something on your computer that is a timer, and set a timer for 25 minutes. Now, this might seem crazy, but trust me, 25 minutes, focus on doing that one thing, writing those letters, formulating that listing presentation, writing the list of agents you really want to recruit into your organization. Focus on that one task until the buzzer rings. Then I want you to give yourself a little tick sign on a Post-it note that says, I completed this task. I did it. And then take a quick break. Take a 5-minute break, go downstairs, pour yourself another cup of coffee or tea, rub your dog's belly, do some yoga, whatever it might be, but give your body a rest, give your eyes a rest for at least 5 minutes. Then come back, choose another task, set a timer for 25 minutes, focus until it rings, track the completion, take the break, and start over. See how many of these you can get done in a day. I am a personal competition person. I'm always competing against my best record. So I love to see how many of these I can get done in a day. And then can I beat my number from the day before? And so I encourage you to go through this process. The first time you do it, 25 minutes is going to feel like forever. However, once you get into the flow of working this system, you will be so shocked how much you get done at the end of the day. For those of you who prefer to use apps, there are so many apps out there. I will be sure in the recap notes to share some of my favorites as well, but there are some fantastic apps out there that help you track your success. which leads me to another element in really truly slaying your goals is celebrating your successes. It's so important along the way to recognize when you have crushed a milestone. It doesn't matter if it's a small one or a large one. Keeping yourself rewarded is such a huge part of the process. It helps keep you motivated. It also plays such a crucial role in continuing success. So once we've tasted success and we celebrate it, we want more of it. So it keeps us motivated, it keeps us focused, it helps us do all of these things. So I want you to, on that weekly check-in for yourself, when you're checking in with yourself, whether it's Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or Friday, where you're putting all of your goals in the notes section, I also want you to put a reminder to yourself to celebrate what you have accomplished in the week before. Remind yourself to celebrate those successes. It could be planning a walk. It could be scheduling time to spend with your partner or with your kids doing something you love, something fun. It could be taking more alone time for yourself to celebrate that success. So make sure that you are celebrating it and then rewarding yourself. So if you walk through this process and note each accomplishment every single week, note the accomplishments, note the tasks you slayed, the goals that you accomplished, and then choose that reward. Choose a reward. It doesn't have to be big. It can be small. It can be ordering a new book. It can be spending time on the phone with a friend. Choose that reward and then schedule it. Again, while you are sitting down at your calendar that week to review your list, schedule in that celebration of your success. And then ultimately, what I want you to do is I want you to share that with someone else. This is what we also learned inside our community here at Woman Up, is that when we celebrate our successes with each other, A, it's more fun, and B, it helps inspire a fellow lioness to celebrate her success. And we love to celebrate each other. So don't keep it to yourself. Share it out loud. It's absolutely wonderful to share that with others. Okay, so then I want you to look at your list of the people that you've been surrounding yourself with. So you already wrote a small list for each one of your goals. I want you to take that list of the people who will help you, those ideal connections who will help you with your list of goals. And I want you to put them on one big, beautiful list. And I want you to make sure that you're connected with them on all of the channels where they participate. I want you to, are they on Instagram? Do they have their own podcast? Do they have a blog? Are they on Facebook? I want you to have a core list of all of these people because I want you to start intentionally loving on those people over the next 12 months. This list is going to be small and mighty. I want you to show your love for them, regardless of if you need something from them or not, whether they are helping you achieve a goal right now or not. I want you to love on them. I want you to support them. I want you to share their posts and their podcasts. I want you to introduce them to people when you can introduce them, because having a solid, intentional champion in your life is a blessing. And so you bless your blessings, but you have to be intentional about it by writing down that list. So you aren't at December 2nd thinking, oh my goodness, how long has it been since I have done something nice for fill in the blank? Nurturing those relationships is key. Again, write down all those people. And then one of the fun extras that I've started doing over the last few years is I've started to write out for each one of those people some of the things that I know about them, favorite color, favorite quote, so that throughout the year I can go to that list and think, I haven't messaged Sarah in a bit. I need to send her something around her favorite quote, or maybe I want to send her her favorite bottle of bubbles because it's time to celebrate something. But keeping a relationship management list for your champions, not your clients, but those dearests, really does come in handy. So nurturing those relationships with intention, and then remembering that it's not just people we surround ourselves, but with words. So what words are you surrounding yourself with? What words, when you're feeling down, give you grace? What that help you shake off the shame? So if you don't have affirmations in your life, if you don't have mantras written on your windows, on your bathroom mirrors with a dry erase marker. If you don't have Post-it notes up, put those out everywhere. Surround yourself with good people and good words. Giving yourself grace in each one of those moments. It's really, here's the reality with giving ourselves grace is that as high achievers, as leaders, we tend to forget that we too can fail, that we too can set ourselves up for overwhelm. And so we have to step back and remember that and give ourselves that grace. It's incredibly important to remember that as you are shifting how you define and refine your goals, that there are going to be moments where you're going to feel like this process is I'm overwhelmed. I've been doing this differently and I want to just go back to the way I've been doing it. Remember, give yourself grace. Accept those lumps and bumps, those downturns. This is a process that you're learning. And then ultimately and unabashedly choose to be unstoppable in this process. I'm going to show you some of the terms and some of the highlights that we've experienced over the last few years here in the Woman Up community, and that I've gotten from past clients. The first is trusting yourself now. You've got this, right? And everything you need to slay your commitments and your goals is inside you. So trust in yourself. Stop comparing yourself to anyone else, right? When you embrace that authentic self, you have no competition. You really don't. So focus on embracing who you are and who you are authentically so that you can ditch that competition focus. Then start flipping your negative thoughts. Start flipping them upside down so that you can ultimately truly share your real journey. Vulnerability, we have learned over and over again, is where true connection is formed. So this is to say, stop only sharing your highlight reel. Share the messy middle. Share that part of your journey where you think, gosh, if I share this out loud, I'll be found out. Share that part. That's where people come together and want to be part of your journey because that's where we connect. And then ultimately change what you can. If you know something needs to change and you can control it, do something about it right away. Don't wait. It will make you feel victorious if you can check it off. And then stop obsessing over the rest, right? Stop obsessing over what you can't control or what you can't change, period. Focus on your own house, not everyone else's. Then ditch the perfection. I've said this so many times over the years. Ditch the senseless hustle. Ditch the chase of perfection. And this year at the Woman Up event, the virtual event, Tara Nicole said, perfection is so pre-pandemic, right? And I truly love that. So ditch that search for perfection. Allow yourself to be a hot mess sometimes, right? It's so much more fun to live when you stop worrying about what everyone else is thinking, how everyone else is going to judge you. Enjoy the concept of failing forward and failing forward fast, right? Do a happy dance when things don't turn out right, just as you do when things turn out well, because that failure is teaching you a way that doesn't work. And that is a lesson. So be joyful in there. And then I also am reminded of that Dr. Seuss quote whenever I see this ditch perfection, which is be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Okay, then ultimately embrace. And this is really around really embrace your moxylicious spirit, right? Embrace your courageous, gracious, tenacious, vivacious spirit to practice unstoppable focus, to keep that faith not only in yourself but your faith walk strong in times like this year, but in times where we are back to what things will eventually, our inevitable recovery from this. Keep that faith strong. I love the characteristics of the word faith, right? Fortitude, persistence, stamina, grit, sticking it out during tough times. Keep your faith in yourself and others and in where you are going strong. Believe that you're worthy of achieving your goals. This is a key part of being unstoppable. You're worth the work that you're doing to achieve it. Pay attention to the words you're saying to yourself, right? Because you're worthy, and you're worthy of deciding you're worthy. And then ultimately, I've shared this so many times with all of you in the past, but I think it's important to revisit the PEACE acronym of pausing before you say yes to a goal on your list, before you say yes to a Zoom event or a client. I want you to pause for a moment. Take time to answer the questions of, does this opportunity, does this connection align with the commitments I have made to myself? I want you to examine it and really, does it align? And then I want you to truly assess. I want you to assess all of your commitments and actually help you connect the dots between the commitment that you've made yourself and the commitment that they are requesting from you. And then ultimately choose. You now, if you pause and examine and assess those, you have the opportunity to choose wisely. It won't always be perfectly in alignment, but if 80% of the yeses you give are in alignment with what you've stated your values are and that you've created these values aligned goals around, it will improve your achievement level. I cannot even stress this enough, that if you choose 80% of the time to align with this process, it is going to feel so amazing. And then ultimately, it allows you to execute with confidence, right? There's that confidence level again. So confidently, intentionally integrating that activity, nurturing that relationship, meeting with that new client, knowing it's going to add value not only to your life, but in alignment with your business. So here are all the layers that we talked about today. Here are all the levels, right? First is choose that key goal. Second is honestly review that goal. Then make sure that goal is aligned with your values. Walk through that step and frame your goals with a positive statement. Create that check-in every week to check in on your progress. Keep on track that way, and then get visual. Come on now. Let's get visual. Let's create vision boards in our homes, on Pinterest, so that we can see it with our mind's eye and with our actual eye, where we are going. And ultimately embracing that art of focus so that we can not only accomplish those goals, but it allows us to celebrate our success. And when we don't achieve what we think we're going to achieve, number 9 is so important, that giving ourselves grace, right? Picking ourselves up, shaking off that shame, and starting strong the next day. So that when we are surrounding ourselves with number 10, which is those champions, the champion people and the champion words, that they are reminding us of our song when we've forgotten it, right? They are singing our song back to us when we've forgotten it and helping us to become unstoppable. So I did mention this earlier. Of course, we'll share it in the show notes, and I'll drop it into the chat. If you want to go through this in a workbook, you absolutely can. There is a code that you can get. All right, everyone. I'm so thankful that we had a chance to share time together. Of course, if we are connected on social media, if you are in the Facebook group for Woman Up, feel free to message me with any questions that you might have. If you do decide to download that workbook about firing up your goals, I'm here. I am a resource for you. I would be happy to mentor you through that process. It's something that I would love for all of us to go through. It has helped me so immensely over the years. So if you need me, you know where to find me.